If you have ever seen a North Carolina postcard, you have probably seen this lighthouse behind me. The Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is known for how tall it is, along with the infamous pattern that is around it. Park Ranger Jonathan Polk told us a little bit about what makes it so special, some of his favorite fun facts, and why he believes that it is a staple in the state of North Carolina. Let's take a look.
I'm Ranger Jonathan Polk, Park Ranger here at Cape Hatteras National Seashore, and I oversee the Interpretation and Education Division for the seashore here. So we're here at the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse today. This one is kind of the lighthouse of all lighthouses, if you will. It's the tallest lighthouse, not just on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. See, it's the tallest one in the United States and all of North America. It's 198.5 feet tall. From the ground level up to the top of the lightning rod up there. So it is the tallest one, and it does protect one of the arguably some of the most dangerous areas, not just here in North Carolina, but along the entire Atlantic seaboard here in the Atlantic Ocean. So with the convergence of currents out here, with the Gulf Stream and the Labrador currents, they meet right here off of Cape Hatteras, not far from where we're at today. Because of those currents and the sandbars and everything that are forming out there, it's a really dangerous place, even today, even with all the technology and everything that we have. So that's why the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse here had to be as tall as it is, and that's why it is so significant. I mentioned that the height of it, being the tallest one, and it really was built to kind of set that example for lighthouses in the United States. That's a great story to tell. Another big thing with the lighthouse here was that this lighthouse was actually relocated in 1999. It used to stand about a half a mile away from where we're at today, a lot closer to the ocean. Being that we're on a barrier island, the island's constantly changing and the shoreline was getting closer and closer. So the decision was made to actually pick the lighthouse up and move it to a safer spot where it's at now. So that was a pretty monumental occasion. There was a lot of engineering involved, a lot of planning, and essentially kind of what happened was the workers went in, they dug down around the original foundation of the lighthouse, they cut it from its original foundation, and then used these large hydraulic jacks underneath the lighthouse to lift the lighthouse up, jacked it up about 6 feet in the air, and then built a track system underneath it. It looked like big railroad tracks that the lighthouse sat on. And then with rollers that were between the tracks and the lighthouse, they were able to use hydraulic push jacks and push the lighthouse along those tracks just a little bit at a time for the entire half a mile that it moved. It is still operational. The light at the top is maintained by the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard still sees this as, or still uses it as an active aid to navigation. And because of that, the area where we're at, because of the constant shifting of sands and the currents and everything, there still is a need for it here in the area, even with GPS and everything that we use now. So it is still operational, comes on every single night. It's all fully automated now. Another common question we get right now is, when is it going to be able to reopen kind of for climbing, for viewing and everything? So currently it is closed to climbing because we are getting ready for a pretty big restoration and repair project to the lighthouse. It is over 150 years old now, so it looks good at first glance, but there's a lot of work that has to happen when it's that old of a structure. So the Park Service is dedicated to doing that restoration, and that's something we're in the process of planning right now. And we're hopeful that work will start soon, later this year even. And it could take some time. I mean, it's a big project. So it's going to take some time before we get it reopened, but we're definitely excited to eventually get it back open once all that work's completed. So it's going to be in really good shape and safe for folks to come and enjoy. Yeah, there's quite a good bit still original fabric, if you will, for the lighthouse. Most of the granite and the bricks and things that you see is all still original to the lighthouse. A lot of the metalwork in there is still original. Some of it has been repaired over the years. Things like up at the balcony and the stairs have been repaired over the years. The light at the top is not the original lens that used to be in there. Originally it would have been a first order Fresnel lens, which is similar to the lens that's at the Body Island Lighthouse. But that first order Fresnel lens has been removed. It's normally on display at a museum in the local area here That museum's also closed for renovations right now. But so the light is a newer light, but we are, as part of the restoration project, the light is going to be getting addressed. So we're looking at possibly putting a replica Fresnel lens back in there when that restoration takes place. I mean, when folks come to the Outer Banks, they think Cape Hatteras. I mean, that's what folks are thinking of. The Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, I like to think, is the most iconic lighthouse of them all. I've had a lot of people tell me from all over the country when they visit that, like, if they come and when they think of lighthouses, like, Cape Hatteras is the first one that comes to mind. That black and white spiral pattern that you see, that's what people see when they think lighthouses. And that's what the Lighthouse Service was really kind of going for when they built this lighthouse. It was built to be that example of what lighthouses were meant to be, with all the ornamentation that you see in the metalwork at the top, on the stairs inside, things like that, with the marble floors that are in there. I mean, they really wanted to set that example. They wanted to say, okay, Cape Hatteras is it's protecting the most dangerous area out there. It needs to be the best. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's what folks see and feel. So a lot of folks don't feel like a trip to the Outer Banks is complete until they've come and at least stood here at the base of the lighthouse and kind of taken it all in. For me personally, there's so much about the lighthouse itself and the area that I connect with. I'm originally from Eastern North Carolina. I've been coming out here my entire life, and I've been fortunate enough to be out here with the Park Service in different capacities for a number of years now. And so I think some of what we've already talked about, the lighthouse just being the largest one, the iconic one, protecting the dangerous landscape that it is out here, certainly resonates with me. But I think also the story of the ever-changing barrier islands. I mean, being that we're on a barrier island out here, things are changing all the time when we see storms and, I mean, really anything that will affect that change. And the lighthouse being relocated, that story right there is just a true testament to what life on a barrier island entails. You have to be able to kind of go with the flow on the barrier island. Things are not going to be permanent on the landscape that is the Outer Banks. And I think the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is just a true testament to that.